Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final episode of the season for the Modern Entrepreneurs podcast with me, your host, Monica Garrett. It's been a really cool year. This is the first year that we did the podcast and that I did the podcast with several guests. And I had so much fun. So, if you listen to the first episode, it will kind of give you an insight on who I am, what I do, and how all of this started. But just to get back to it, so I started this podcast because a girlfriend of mine, Charla, had started her own podcast as well. And I had been into podcasts for a little bit. My husband got me into listening to them, and then I started listening to some that were, really in my niche of business and women entrepreneurs and, creative entrepreneurs and stuff. So that also really inspired me to want to try this out myself. And so my girlfriend, Charla, of Charla Blue Photography, check her out. She showed me her setup at her house, and it seemed doable. Now, having done this for almost a year now, I think February will be a year. It's been hardcore. I don't think I would recommend it to anybody that is short on time. That's for sure. You have to really like talking to people and having good conversations, and really being able to talk on your feet, just having a good conversation rolling is really what I kind of learned along the way. But some of the other things, I just want to talk about who we interviewed along the way and how all of that was for me, and what my thoughts were on all the episodes that we did. So my first episode, I did an intro of the show and kind of my background story. So if you really, want to check that out, that's where all that goodness is. And I might have to recap that in the coming year. So, so that's where my story sat. And then my first interviewee was Noelle Basuzzi of noellebasuzzi.com. And she's an old friend. She's fantastic. I worked with her at the OC Family Magazine. And just the talent that girl exudes is amazing. So I interviewed a few photographers. Amy Schoenbaum, another really good friend of mine who jumped in last minute. I don't think that was ever said. She had, I had somebody drop out or that had to postpone their interview. So Amy jumped in, and it was fantastic. One of the key things I remember about that was she used a rotary phone that has a USB at the end, and she plugged that into a computer, and that was her microphone. I was like, oh my God, I need a picture of this. And that's before I was doing video. So I really wish I would have had that video to show you guys. But there is just a photo, not video of that, but she's fantastic. She's a florist, and she talked about how why staying small, having a small business really fits her lifestyle, because she also has a full-time job. And just does other things. So really cool there. And then, let's see, Raylene Proto was a really awesome fashion and law gal who combined this, sort of buttoned up thing of law and combined it with her love of fashion, which was super cool. And if you're into that kind of stuff, she really gave some really great insight onto how to get into that industry and what her experience has been, and some, speaking things that she's doing. And she's just really, her career is just going great. She's working at Tilly's now, doing paralegal work for them. So that was a really cool episode as well. And, tagging along on the fashion aspect, we had Beth Jones, who I love and adore. And I met her through the magazine as well, OC Family Magazine, but I was a avid follower of her blog and checking her out, and she's an Orange County girl, so actually from South Carolina too, so there's that connection, which we talked about, which was pretty cool. So yeah, Beth Beth Jones, episode 5, talked about being sort of this OG fashion blogger, and now her business has just grown into being a vlogger, really, and more of a video content provider. So YouTube, Facebook Live, and Instagram stories. I'm sure Snapchat as well. So that's really taken a different approach with her business, and that was super cool to hear how that's grown. And she's been doing it for 10 years, took a break, and then got back into it, and it's just really rocking it. So that's a cool one to check out. Another one of the best episodes we had was with Lucinda Burgess Farwell, who is a VR assistant, virtual assistant. And she called in all the way from the UK, which was really awesome, and I loved her accent. But she's just super cool, super sweet, and really introduced this whole new modern world of having a virtual assistant. And if you don't have an assistant physically in your town, city, neighborhood, anything, helping you with your business, check out a virtual assistant. There's so many options. If you guys wanted another episode on something like that, I can definitely make that happen. I personally don't have, well, I guess I do actually. Not personally, but my business has, I guess, a couple virtual assistants, if you will. I have sort of a go-to for data mining, searching for contact information, gathering names or emails for, just creating lists of some sort or doing research. Those are some good things that a virtual assistant could help you with. Towards the end of this year, I actually brought on a personal assistant for my business and myself. Gabriella, she is awesome. And so we'll see where that goes into the new year. And there's so many ways to get help. And I hope I shared a really cool resource with Lucinda there for you. You can get people online to help you with your bookkeeping, pretty much anything that you need help with, that you're just not that interested in doing, email marketing, and a lot of these things is because you don't have time. Time to, you want to spend your time growing your business, and just making that work, and not spending all of your time on these other tasks that you're not even in love with, you don't like doing, you're not good at, any of that. So outsourcing is a huge thing. It's been a huge part of my business growth this year. And I'm sure it's just going to lead on into 2017. It's kind of funny because I think when I first started, my business as not necessarily a freelancer, but, independent contractor, if you will. So people were hiring me to do work for their companies. And I ended 2016 with having my own subcontractors and people that I outsourced to, which has only proven to be one of the best decisions I made, because financially, you got to really allocate and figure out how you make the money to pay the people. But just with my lifestyle and how I want the business to grow, it has helped tremendously to outsource so many of these tasks, and to really spend my time on areas that I'm the strongest, which, is business development, bringing in clients, project management, creative direction. So that's where I get to spend most of my time now that I have help with the other things. You can have help with social media, setting up any processes, anything, maybe even setting up appointments or making calls for you. So there's so many things that having assistants and having that support team is really going to help grow your business. So that was just one of the intros of a person that could do that for you. So if you reached out to Lucinda, I'd love to hear about it. Or if you have your own virtual assistant or have outsourced to something, let's talk. I think that's really cool. I'd love to hear other people's experiences with it as well. Then we had a couple of really great women. We had Rachel Green talking about living, creating an intentionally designed life and business, which is super rad. I want to pair her up with my Blaze Lazzarani episode 10 and episode 7 were sort of actually even more episode episode 13 with Heather Franks. These women really opened my eyes this year to having this positive mindset. I want to say that I was just I'm an overthinker first. So I was really intimidated by this idea of mindset because I'm like, how do you convince your mind to think differently? How do you just change the way you think, right? It just seems so hardcore to me, and I was overthinking it. But these women really just inspired me and just showed light to me, and really made it seem, well, for one, they made me understand how important it is. Blaze is a conscious entrepreneur, and Heather, wants you to live the life that you've always dreamed about and how that's obtainable. And then Rachel Green, just talking about living with intention and having a purpose behind things is just super enlightening. So all 3 of those episodes would really be great if you're looking for something about mindset, and living a fulfilled life with your career and your lifestyle. I had a couple really cool women who have excelled in their businesses. Kathy Cruz in episode 8 was talking about going from Etsy to having a brick and mortar store, which is so cool. And I really was relating with her on that because I ended up having a storefront that I shared with a couple other entrepreneurs within our own fields. And just having that space to go to is super cool. That home, that place you go to and work, and it's for the business. It just makes time more appreciated and focused, and your money too, because you're paying for that. Kathy Cruz talked about how she started selling found and vintage items on Etsy, and she ended up opening the storefront with her sister, which is really thriving and doing great. And then she actually started her own online business for modern pieces. So sort of like the other side of the coin with the style of products that she was selling. But I love it. Merely Modern is that one, and the vintage site is Salvaged Boutique. So super cool woman talking about balancing her career in law enforcement and then transitioning to being a business owner, just getting out there and figuring out the time and how it affected her health, how it affected her life, and how she found balance with all of that, and is still rocking it, and having a new business. And yeah, I'm eager to see where that goes for her. Jessie Hack was super cool and so real. It's funny because I asked her, one of the most common questions that she gets asked all the time, which is, how do you do it all with, 4 children? And to her, she's just like, what do you mean? You just do it. And if, and that interview was a great example of how she does, because we had her little girls making some cameos in the background, and we eventually had to cut the interview short, but guess what? It was still long. It was almost an hour long. So she did, kudos to her. She did a great job rocking it. And I love talking with Jessie. I've known Jessie a long time, since the wedding industry days of my previous business. And, yeah, she's just super talented. And I always tell her she's just a trendsetter. You just got to keep an eye out for what Jessie Hack's doing, because she's setting the tone a lot of the times for new ideas, quirky ideas, thinking outside the box, really. And, she's breaking outside of that mold of typical wedding decor and the idea of what typical weddings should look like. So she's really innovative and creative that way. So that was an awesome episode. I'm so stoked she made time to get our interview going. And then we had Monique Malcolm, which was super cool because she has an actual product. She sells products on her website that are tools to really help you focus and obtain something greater. So, just leveraging what you have, making it focused and written out. She has these really great books on strategy and just nailing things down, which I actually bought one. It's a Pimp Your Strategy. Yeah, she has a whole bunch of products on her site, and she's doing great. And she does a lot of speaking interviews, speaking engagements, which I hope to do some more of, whether on interviews on podcast or speaking in person, maybe doing some workshops. I'm not sure. Just want to get out there and really, connect with people. And I think having this podcast has really helped me do that. So I'm just looking to do more of that in the new year. And Monique is definitely someone I look to when really trying to focus and believe in myself and, just stay positive and know that goals are there and there's a route to follow to get there. Another innovative girl that we interviewed was Trina Little. She's super cool. She just recently had her second baby. Congrats, Trina. So she has focused her business on video content and creation. So I learned so much about, creating YouTube videos through her. So hopefully I'll be more active on YouTube in 2017 and just really maximizing how I get videos out there to you guys. So she was super cool. She has so much great information and supportive information, just to get you going and talking about the importance of video. So I know she's going to be doing a lot more of that in 2017, in between taking care of those little ones. But yeah, she just comes from a really strong business background and just has mastered and become sort of the go-to for creating video content. So she's really onto something there, and I'm glad we got her on the podcast. So I was stoked to talk to her. And our last episode of the year was with Sophie Davies, and she's another gal from the UK who is sort of this like epitome of my own goals, because her focus is minimalism, and I think a lot of people are confused on what minimalism is, or they don't completely understand it. For example, so Sophie Davies, I first found her through her blog, Life of a Private Girl, and it's about her living her life as a minimalist. And I'm not into the idea of a label or anything, but I'm into the mindset. And again, there's that mindset thing. I'm into the mindset of really minimizing your life and only having things that are useful, and just decluttering, like just not having so much shit everywhere. So I was really drawn to her site, and just her style, her aesthetic, her eye, really, how she sees the world and sees things. And she creates jewelry. Her whole lifestyle is actually translated into the products that she creates, which are jewelry. So she creates very minimal, smartly sourced, affordable jewelry. You have got to check it out. I love it. It's just, it's very clean and simple, geometric. I'm all about it. And her story is just great because she started her business as well on Etsy and turned it into this full-blown business off the Etsy site. So it's her own thing. And she actually talks about not going the whole retail route of having wholesalers and resellers, and you want her product, you get it from her. And I think that's a really smart strategy. Just cutting out the middleman, cutting out the markup, and just getting product straight, to the customers, and they know where to find her. So that was pretty cool. So overall, I think all of the interviews I had were just amazing. Like, I can't even pinpoint which one was my favorite, honestly. But yeah, I just love all the women that I interviewed, and I really hope that you got some great stories, out of them, some tips, some inspiration, and ideas. That's what this is really all about, just women entrepreneurs talking about our trials and tribulations and everything in between. So, looking forward to 2017, I really hope we get some awesome interviews coming up. I have a lot of people that really want to be on the show, so I'm just making sure I get some good fits for the audience. And I just would really love if you could leave a review, rate and review us on iTunes. That would be so amazing, because it really just gives me good feedback on what I'm doing here, and if you're liking what I'm doing or not. So I think I've passed the point on where iTunes can actually recognize me as a new and upcoming, but that's cool. I'm not in it for that. I'm in this to really get out some great stories for you guys and share. And I want to share these stories because my journey has been so inspired and molded by other women who have gone on this path. And I don't feel that we talk about it enough. I feel as though I'm online and I can see that there's a lot of these women out there, but really getting down to what our stories are is really key, because I think that that's what is key with focusing in your branding. Your story. It's what makes you unique. It's what helps people connect with you. And yeah, so just talking about it and getting it out there. Just beyond, I filled out the paperwork to get a business license. There's so much more to your story than that. And, just right off the bat, me thinking of Kathy Cruz interview, episode 8, she just was like, telling us the background story of her mom and how they used to live and shop when she was younger, and how those sort of things formed her and her sister's idea of this business, and, that this could work because it was them. They were, the people shopping on the other end at one point. And so they really understood their audience because they come from it, So I think just, hearing everybody's stories about their businesses, how they got here, I really hope that it inspires you and just really gets you going and excited. If you have questions, reach out to any of the girls that we've interviewed, or myself. I'm definitely an open book. You can reach me at monica@margaux.agency.com, MARGAUX agency.com. And yeah, so just to recap for myself how business went for me in 2016, I want to say it was hard. This is, like I said, this is my second business, and this is going on year 3, but it's been 2 years, right? And I've had my daughter, who is that age, basically. She is going to be 3 in 2017. So it's been a hard struggle trying to juggle everything with her, the most important thing ever in the world, family life, and having this dream of having my business. And it's progressed a lot. A lot has happened, and it's crazy to look back on the year and just think, wow, like even to think like of January, February. I mean, I started the podcast in February, but like just thinking back on what my goals were, what my focuses were on, what I was doing, how I was presenting the business, things like that. So much has changed. here I'm starting the new year of 2017 as the Margot Agency, and new website, new everything, new branding. And I started off as Margot Design Studio. I started off as Margot Invitation and Design Studio. So business growth is a huge thing. And I think really learning where I want my business to be, who I'm trying to reach, and what my goals are. Ultimately, my goal for my business is for it to grow beyond me. I don't want it to be dependent on me. I want this to be an agency that has employees, and I want a studio space, the whole shebang. So I'm still on my journey to get there, and let me know if you are too. I'd love to hear anybody else's stories that are sort of, similar or aligned with what I'm doing, and where you see your business. So again, just to tell you quickly about what the Margot Agency is we're a branding and marketing firm specializing in helping entrepreneurs become recognizable and grow their businesses online. We build unforgettable brands and create strategies that accelerate growth. So with that, my initial focus has always been branding. We focus on the brand identity and the brand voice. So how you're presented out there, how you're perceived, and how people see you is basically your brand. It's not necessarily something that you just create. It has to deal with perception and others' ideas of you, of digesting all of that, really. So then, we focus on website development and maintenance and design, which, is a lot of ongoing services for our clients. So we never leave you hanging. We're a WordPress content management system developer, love WordPress, and we build our clients' websites on WordPress because it's easy to hand over to them. It's a sharp, smart service, and we totally recommend them. There's a lot of actually, I'm doing a blog post, a write-up about the top apps that I've used in 2016 and the ones that I gave up and traded. So check out that blog post coming soon. And you'll get to see all the insight of my experience with these different apps and programs that we use throughout the year. So that's what we do, and I love it. So thanks again for taking the time to listen to this episode. If you have any feedback, just reach out, and I'd love to hear from you. All right, cheers to 2017.